Okay, so today we're diving into something, well, let's be real. It's something we all think about,
Yeah.
how tech affects how couples talk to each other.
Yeah,
Or you guys sent in some seriously interesting research on this.
for sure.
And it's a bit personal for me, too, got to say. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? Trying to have a heart-to-heart with your partner, but they're totally glued to their phone.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
It's like, hello, I'm right here.
Exactly. It's the big question for relationships these days, isn't it? Like, can we actually have these amazing relationships with all this tech around?
Right.
Or is it all just slowly, pulling us apart?
It's tricky, right?
Mhm.
It's not a simple yes or no tech. It's a double-edged sword. It can mess things up, but it can also help.
Totally.
So what we're doing today is digging into that, all those little details so you guys can figure out how to make this whole tech thing work for your relationship.
I love that. Make it work for you. And yeah, sometimes it really does feel like our phones are these little black holes sucking away all the attention in the room, like attention vampires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the studies you sent, it said that a lot of married women, they felt ignored by their partners because of, all the tech distractions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just during downtime, like when you're just chilling.
Right.
It was during conversations, meals, those important moments when you're supposed to be connecting.
That's it, yeah. It's not just anecdotal either. There's actual research backing this up.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And when you think about how our brains work, it makes total sense. Each notification, each on that post,
Oh, yeah.
each little buzz from your phone, it's like a tiny hit of dopamine,
Like a reward.
It's a reward. So without even realizing it, we start to crave that digital buzz more than, actually talking to the person right in front of us.
Wow. Yeah. It's like we're training ourselves to pay more attention to our phones than to our partners. That's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is. And it's not just about feeling ignored either. It's the constant interruptions, the pings, the notifications.
Arr.
They totally kill the flow of any conversation.
They really do.
It's super hard to really listen or have a deep conversation when you're constantly being pulled away.
Totally. Like, is it just me? Or does anyone else get anxiety when they hear their partner's phone buzzing during a conversation? Like, please, just let me finish my thought.
Oh, I hear ya. And even those small interruptions, they break our focus, make it hard to be present.
Exactly.
And then there's the mood thing.
Oh, the dreaded mood swings.
Studies show that using your devices a lot can link to feeling irritable, anxious, even a bit down.
Yeah, no one's fun to be around when they're glued to their phone all day.
And it's easy to see how that can affect a relationship, right?
Mm.
More arguments, more tension, just not a good vibe overall.
It's a bit of a bummer, to be honest.
It is.
But it's not all bad news, is it? I mean, technology is not inherently evil, right? It can be a good thing for relationships, too, if we use it the right way.
100%. Instead of being like, tech is bad, let's think of it as a tool. Like any tool can be used in good ways or bad ways.
I like that.
It's all about how you use it. If you use it with a purpose to make your relationship better, it can actually boost your communication and connection. Think about things like shared calendars, grocery lists,
Online date nights.
online date nights, all those things. They can make life less stressful and free up more time to just be together.
Totally. And, I love how tech can help us show love and appreciation, too.
Oh, yeah.
A quick text saying, thinking of you, or sending a funny meme during the day, it can help you feel close, even when you're apart.
Right. And sometimes it's easier to talk about deeper feelings or have those tough conversations through writing.
Yeah, I get that.
It gives you time to think, choose your words carefully, and it can feel safer for those conversations that are a bit sensitive,
I think you're right. So it's not about ditching face-to-face communication altogether. It's more like using different ways to communicate depending on what's going on in your relationship.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having different tools for different jobs.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Right. Finding that balance, yeah. It's not about chucking our phones in the river,
No phone throwing.
but it's about setting healthy boundaries and learning to use tech so it makes our connection stronger, not weaker.
So what are some practical things couples can do to find that balance? Like what actually works?
One thing that's simple but really effective is having tech-free zones and times.
Okay, I like that.
Like agreeing that phones are off limits at the dinner table or having a digital detox hour every night.
Love it.
Where you both put your devices away and just focus on each other.
Yes. Like a digital detox hour, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's like hitting reset on your brain.
Exactly.
And for those of us, me included, who have zero self-control when it comes to our phones.
Oh, yeah, same here.
There are those apps that can block distracting websites or apps for a while.
Oh yeah, the website blockers, those are lifesavers.
They really are. It sounds simple, but those small things can make a huge difference. And speaking of resetting, what about disconnecting before bed?
Ah, yes. Unplugging before bed, crucial.
You get better sleep, and it gives you time for pillow talk,
Right.
intimacy, deeper connection, all that good stuff.
It's like creating a little bubble of us time before you drift off.
Exactly. It's amazing how those little moments before bed can be so important for feeling close.
They really are.
So we've talked about the tough stuff, the good stuff, and some things you can actually do. What's the most important thing for our listeners to take away from all this?
I think the big takeaway is tech isn't the enemy here. The real challenge is like understanding our own habits around tech
That's deep.
and then making a choice about how we want tech to be part of our relationships. It's like asking, is tech controlling us or are we using it to make our lives and our relationships better?
Wow, that's a powerful question. I think that sums up everything we've talked about today.
I think so too.
So, as you go about your day, think about how you could use tech in a more mindful way to connect with your partner on a deeper level.
Be intentional about it.
Exactly. Maybe it's those tech-free zones we talked about. Maybe it's planning a date night with no phones allowed. Maybe it's just being more aware of how much you're on your phone.
Yeah.
The important thing is to talk about it with your partner and find what works for you.
Communication is key, always.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining me today for this deep dive. It's been a great conversation.
It really has. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing.